It's Thursday, June 20th, and we're back for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett, joined alongside Sarah Ellison. Glad you're with us. We've got a jam-packed show for you coming up, which is brought to you by Primary Residential Mortgage. Marlon Humphrey and Jack Settleman on the Punchline podcast kind of renewed their series. They took off a few weeks, if not maybe a couple months. I don't know what their summer schedule's been like, but they released an episode. And Sarah, as we know, because we were privileged enough to have Marlon on for, what felt like close to an hour over draft weekend, you better believe he's had some things to say. And as usual, it's about the most relevant topics, including his ex-teammate Patrick Queen going to Pittsburgh. And there has been quite the hilarious Twitter feud.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. It really, honestly, all of it's making me crack up. I can't wait to jump in.
Patrick's in particular response to Marlon was absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
I think we're all going to enjoy this. So we'll take a look at that. And then there was also a couple notes, too, that I think Sarah and I both picked up on in that episode related to Marlon's health. We know that he missed 2 of the 3 mandatory minicamp days. And with what John Harbaugh referred to, at least to the media, as nagging things. So perhaps a takeaway in that department as well. Tom Brady's gearing up for his broadcasting debut this season. And Sarah, based on some of the little nuggets that he's dropping in various teasers that he'll do and appearances with Fox-based shows, you just get the sense that he's going to be excellent at broadcasting, and I think we have a clip from Fox and Colin Cowherd that'll inspire it'll inspire you in a number of ways if you just enjoy football and you're a historian, but I think we can cater it to some Ravens things as well. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely. We also have some jersey uniform rankings. Okay. Very important, hard-hitting stuff here. There's 12 different jersey combinations, pant and jersey and helmet now. So we're going to go through those. We got some updates on the NFL being sued on a class action suit with the Sunday ticket ordeal. And then stay tuned. I'm excited. We're going to hear some updates from Bobby's New York City date last night.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything, not a thing. So that's probably, I don't know why we're not leading with that, Bobby. I mean, that's the hard-hitting stuff here.
Well, I honored your request, and in the pre-conference call, you're saying, look, we're going right into it. I said, yeah, I know. I wasn't going to tell you about it.
I almost texted you last night because I knew you were out with her, and I was about to text you, how's it going? But I remembered we got delayed gratification. We're going to wait till the end of the show to talk about it.
Love it. Love it. It's going to be a fun segment, too, because we're not just going to discuss that. There's going to be some other relevant items that have been going on.
Get off your chest today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this will be a fun episode towards the end and leading up until then as well, because Marlon had this to say on his Punchline podcast about this whole Patrick Queen offseason. We know he is a Pittsburgh Steeler now. He left in free agency. And ever since, after claiming that he wants to embrace this role of a villain, he's gotten into quite a bit of things online, whether they be with Ravens fan base. Can he take that heat? Can he not? Some interesting stuff here. But Marlon's reaction to all of that was this.
Let's start with PQ. PQ's been talking. I don't know if these quotes are real or fake. It's like
the whole summer. He went from talking shit on the Ravens to food. The food in Baltimore sucks. He's just doing a whole thing. I kind of love it.
I mean, I guess that quote was true. I mean, I don't even understand why he had to go in on Baltimore like that. Pittsburgh, the city's better, the food's better, the color's better. I'm like, golly, what? Goodness gracious. What? So I don't know what PQ got going on. I know he's happy over there.
Good.
I did check in on my guy. But I will say this. I like I said, I'm not hating on Pittsburgh, I'm not hating on PQ, but I've been at the Ravens for a while. I've seen this same story go down with a lot of guys. It's the best place on earth, this new place I'm at. Oh my gosh, dude, it's not like the Ravens. Reality sets in eventually. Okay. I hope it's great over there. But sometimes, I'm just saying, I've seen that once or twice. I don't know anybody that's went to Pittsburgh from the Ravens, so I can't say that it's going to be like that there. But I have seen this story. But he seems to be happy over there. So shout out to. Well, actually, no, we're not going to shout him out. But
Wait, okay, so he's saying this is honestly, I haven't watched the podcast. I haven't heard any of this. All I've seen what was on Twitter. So he's saying he's seen a time or two where people come to Baltimore and say it's way better, or people leave Baltimore and at first feel good and then they're like, wait, it's not as good. Which one was he saying?
I thought it was the former,
Okay.
but
I
as
heard a lot of people come to Baltimore and be like, oh, especially vets.
yeah,
They're like, oh, Baltimore knows how to treat, vets. They know how to, this is a classy, first class organization, all that kind of stuff. So he's saying that's what people say when they come, right?
right. But as tends to be the case with Marlon, it's up for interpretation.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you what my understanding of it is. That might be different from somebody else out there. When you eventually watch it, I don't know. Marlon has a certain way of, he can just kind of hop, skip, and jump around certain topics where you're asking yourself at the end, like, wait, what was his actual take there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would love to see the live chat's perspective on that. Because
Donna D saying that's not what he was saying. He's saying it's the opposite. I'm not. And then he's accusing us of spinning it. I'm not spinning. Like, I literally don't understand what he was saying.
well, actually, I think Dada D's referring to something which we'll get to in just a second. And there's a reason why I didn't pull in what he's referring to. But before we get to that, again, which is also in this Punchline podcast, PQ's response, Sarah, was hysterical.
Wait,
as we referenced
hold
top.
on a second.
Yeah.
The clip you just pulled.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything about grass.
Marlon?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Did you hear anything in that quote about grass?
Wait a second. Let's run it back.
Yeah, run
what's up with PQ? PQ's been talking. I don't know if these quotes are real or fake. It's like
the whole summer he went from talking shit on the Ravens to the food in Baltimore sucks. Like, he's just doing a whole thing. I kind of love it.
I mean, I guess that quote was true. I mean, I don't even understand why he had to go in on Baltimore like that. Pittsburgh, the city's better, the food's better, the color's better. I'm like, golly, what? Goodness gracious. Like, what? So I don't know what PQ's got going on. I know he's happy over there.
Good.
I did check in on my guy. But I will say this. I like I said, hey, I'm not hating on Pittsburgh, I'm not hating on PQ, but I've been at the Ravens for a while. I've seen this same story go down with a lot of guys. It's the best place on earth, this new place I'm at. Oh my gosh, dude, it's not like the Ravens. Reality sets in eventually. Okay. I hope it's great over there. But sometimes, I'm just saying, I've seen that once or twice. I don't know anybody that's went to Pittsburgh from the Ravens, so I can't say that it's going to be like that there. But I have seen this story. But he seems to be happy over there. So
yeah, okay. So good catch.
Well, actually, no, we're not going to
catch.
shout him out.
He didn't actually say those words. Now I did clip it.
But he's saying, like, so maybe there was no actual. I don't know. I didn't read that article. I got it that time. He's saying he's seen a lot of players leave the Ravens and be like, oh man, it's great over here. It's so great over here. And then he says, then reality sets in and they're like, oh wait, that I was maybe in a honeymoon stage.
Yes.
And so he's basically saying, it seems like the grass is greener over there. Then once you get there, after reality sets in, it's not so good. He's like, now I don't know anybody personally that went to Pittsburgh, although Wormley did, but maybe he wasn't tight with him and didn't talk to him. But he's saying, I've seen this a lot where people go elsewhere and then reality sets in.
Right.
Okay.
Now I did clip. I listened to it on the fly this morning. I did clip this just for time purposes. So there's a chance that those words were said specifically outside of where I clipped.
Yeah.
But as you just heard in that minute and change, you're right. It did not say those specific words, as the Steelers Depot says here, right? Now, there is no quote around what they said. Their quote that they used was reality sets in, which is exactly what Marlon said.
Yep.
And then they went on to say Ravens Marlon Humphrey tells Patrick Queen Pittsburgh's grass might not be greener. Right? So they're kind of paraphrasing based on what they heard in that interview. PQ's response in the form of a quote tweet to the Steelers Depot is actually my favorite part of this entire thing. And it shows that he can have a little bit of fun. You know that, Sarah, we talked about this in a recent episode in the last few weeks. We both asked the question, does he really want to be the villain? This is just funny. I think that question's up for debate in terms of whether or not he really wants to be the villain based on some of his tweets, based on some of the, he's gone back and forth maybe in terms of embracing that. But his response to Marlon, here it is. Somebody filming him watering with a hose green grass. That's kind of hilarious. And there was no caption attached to it. PQ sipping on something, watering green grass. You know what? Regardless of how you feel about Patrick, regardless of how you feel about the last several weeks, I think he's reigniting, or at least attempting to reignite the rivalry here. The rivalry's never going to be what it once was in Baltimore. I think we can all kind of understand that. It takes rich history and the individuals that make up rich history to make it what it once was. But man, if it can get back to a point where at least, and maybe you are circling those dates on your calendar regardless, based on how long you've been a Ravens fan, right? The OG Ravens fans will always view Pittsburgh and Baltimore as the rivalry in all of sports, and especially in all of football. But maybe some of the newer ones are looking at Cincinnati and Baltimore and Burrow versus Lamar and the playoff battles that they've had, or at least most recently, we all remember just a couple years ago. So anyway, that's the latest there. I think we just lost Sarah, so we'll continue moving on. I'm sure she'll be back on in just a second. Kyle Hamilton, as always, his meme and GIF games, hysterical. On X, he chimes in with this, all of SpongeBob's characters just kind of looking with their eyes wide open, almost underwhelmed. Quote tweets PQ's video of him watering the grass with a, damn, bro, you got the whole squad laughing. And actually, Kyle referred to that as his last tweet of the year, I think, or something along those lines. So maybe Kyle's going into 0 Dark 30 mode, which is what LeBron used to refer to as like demon mode during the playoffs. But I guess Kyle's taking a break from X. At least that's what, 11 hours ago, he says, last tweet till next year. Wanted to leave by saying that at the Gorilla4, which is Isaiah Likely's Twitter handle, is ugly with a peace out sign. So I guess that's that. Let us know what you guys think in the live chat. I'm curious to hear your perspective on this whole Marlon Humphrey and Patrick Queen back and forth. Liza says, you don't need specific words. It was the same meaning as the grass is not always greener. PQ is past being able to not to mean all the nasty crap he has said about Baltimore. Antonio says, what's up, Flock? PQ's butt hurt. David, it's not greener if you have to water it. Oh, man. Joe says, very curious about the dating scoop. We'll get to that later on in the show for sure. Sarah's power went out. She just texted me. So we'll have to figure out what's up with that. I'm sure she'll be getting back on shortly. I have Horace Torres says, I have no issues with PQ. Brian says he read that PQ will be wearing the green dot and wonders if he's going to be up for it. Free FL says PQ just trying to play to his new fan base. Anyone would do the same. I look forward to the first matchup for sure. I look forward to both matchups, no doubt. It's going to be hysterical. It's going to be good theater, you would think, right? Chef Trez says, I can't wait to see PQ on Hard Knocks. The grass isn't always greener. Good stuff weighing in on the live chat. All right, so that's the latest with these two. We'll continue that conversation, I'm sure, as we follow and watch all of PQ's antics leading up to the 2024 season. Before we continue, this episode, as you heard at the top, is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage, and they want to know, are you looking for a trusted and local lender to purchase your dream home? If that's the case, look no further. You can experience a local feel with a national footprint at PRMI. They served in 49 states with over 11,000 satisfied clients in 2023. Don't forget about their exclusive incentive that's available to you as a Vault subscriber as well while you're at it. They're going to cover the cost of your appraisal up to $550, and all you need to do is submit your application on the PRMI Mid-Atlantic website by July 1st of 2024, and that will make you eligible for this incentive when you decide to purchase a home. So don't wait. Apply today and make your home ownership dreams a reality. PRMI is an equal housing lender, NMLS 3094. All that information can be found in the show notes below. Okay, off we go, and I want to talk about Tom Brady's latest on Fox Sports with Colin Cowherd. Okay, and yes, as you can see, I'm not in the studio for those of you wondering. I am up in the Upper East Side of Manhattan here in New York City. We'll get to that later on. But Tom Brady's gearing up for his first season as a broadcaster on Fox. He's going to be calling games on Sundays. And I think we're all kind of anticipating, regardless of whether or not you like the guy, I think we're all kind of highly anticipating, I know I am, what he can bring to the booth from an analysis work standpoint. And I think his latest with Colin Cowherd, this little snippet talking about quarterbacks' roles with feeding playmakers, was super, super insightful. I wanted to break it down and kind of make it Ravens specific on the other side. So listen to this.
This is subconscious, and you were able in a better spot to handle this. But I have been arguing for years that number one receivers, there's a duality to it. They're great. Randy Moss is great.
Yeah.
But subconsciously, even a great quarterback will feel to some degree he's indebted to get him the ball.
Always.
And I thought when Dak Prescott broke into the league, he was better without the great Des Bryant.
Right.
The pressure left. Sometimes receivers are verbal.
Yeah.
And Stephon Diggs I would take on any team.
Yeah.
But he's verbal. Brandon Ayuk is verbal on his social.
Sure.
And I want you to go to that as I have argued. Now, Justin Jefferson to me is too good not to sign.
Sure.
But I have always had this feeling, and if you could, subconsciously when Randy was there, he rewarded you. But was there a feeling sometimes, where's Randy?
Sure.
I want to make sure Randy's happy.
Sure. Yet you always felt like you had to do something to get them the ball. And if they hadn't touched the ball in practice, I'd make sure, oh, God, hey, I got to get so-and-so ball because I want him to keep running hard. And I want him to be ready for when the ball does come. And, you see it a lot in NFL games. I've been practicing a lot of these games. I want to see the best players touch the ball early so they can break a sweat. They can get into the flow of the game. And good coaches do that. When you script plays at the beginning of the game, you're saying, okay, you're the Niners coach. I'm going to make sure McCaffrey touches it either first or second in the game. I want to make sure Deebo Samuel touches it first or second in the game. I'm going to throw it to him quick. Somehow I know the ball is going to be in his hands so he can do something with it. I want to get him into the flow. So we would always try to script so that everybody would feel like they were in the flow of the game. The last thing you want is your number one receiver to go 2.5 quarters into a game and not see a ball to get one target, because he's going to get discouraged. He's got to go out there. He's got to break the huddle. He's got to run out 25 yards to his alignment. He's got to run down the field as fast as he can, try to get open. He's got to run back to the huddle. It's a lot of effort that he's putting into not getting the ball. And I think when you can reward that guy early in the game and figure, okay, where is he at? How do I get him the ball? And there's certain guys that are really easy to get the ball to. Certainly the guys that line up closer to the ball, the tight ends and the slot receivers, there's way more route options for them. It's way easier to get them the ball because they can go to basically every part of the field. Whereas that perimeter receiver, he's got the sideline to deal with. He really can't break out. If he breaks out, he's got 5 or 6 yards to deal with. A receiver at the tight end position or in the slot, when he breaks out, he's got 18 yards to deal with. So you have much more space to get him actually the ball. So, it wasn't hard to get Welker the ball. It wasn't hard to get Edelman the ball. It wasn't hard to get Gronkowski the ball. It was hard to get a perimeter receiver the ball. If they decide that they want to take a perimeter receiver
They
out of the
can.
game,
Roll out coverage.
you just roll the coverage to them. You play cover two. You jam them at the line of scrimmage with someone over the top, and it's very, very difficult to get that guy the ball. But that also gives up a lot of other things. And you've got to be able to take advantage of those things. And that number one receiver has to understand, okay, they're making a concerted effort to take me away. Therefore, my other teammates have to produce when they're playing these coverages.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's fascinating. And just a small little glimpse of what we're going to get on Sundays in the Fox broadcast booth. I mean, is that not fascinating? Right? Now let's tailor it to a Ravens perspective. Right? And Chef Trez is mentioning that, yeah, unfortunately, Greg Olson's going to be demoted here. And he is a heck of an analyst as well for Fox. They are stacked with in-game analysts. It'd be fun to have them both in there, but I don't think they're going to put Tom in a three-man booth. That just doesn't, I don't know if he'd even be open to that. But let's now tailor this to the Ravens perspective, because as you see on the screen, and for those of you in the audio-only audience, we're looking at the Ravens playmakers aside from Derrick Henry. We're looking at Zay Flowers. We're looking at Mark Andrews. We're looking at Isaiah Likely, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, right? And so, and of course, King Henry's got to be on this list as well. But who does Lamar need to be the most mindful of getting the football? History would tell you that would be Mark Andrews because of their rapport, because of their on-field connection, because of how much of a security blanket he's become. But listen to Tom talk about why it's so easy, right? Why it's so easy to get tight ends involved. I loved what he had to say. Listen to that once more.
But was there a feeling sometimes, where's Randy?
Sure.
I want to make sure Randy's happy.
Sure. Yet you always felt like you had to do something to get them the ball. And if they hadn't touched the ball in practice, I'd make sure, oh, God, hey, I got to get so-and-so ball because I want him to keep running hard. And I want him to be ready for when the ball does come. And, you see it a lot in NFL games. I've been practicing a lot of these games. I want to see the best players touch the ball early so they can break a sweat. They can get into the flow of the game. And good coaches do that. When you script plays at the beginning of the game, you're saying, okay, you're the Niners coach. I'm going to make sure McCaffrey touches it either first or second in the game. I want to make sure Deebo Samuel touches it first or second in the game. I'm going to throw it to him quick. Somehow I know the ball is going to be in his hands so he can do something with it. I want to get him into the flow. So we would always try to script so that everybody would feel like they were in the flow of the game. The last thing you want is your number one receiver to go 2.5 quarters into a game and not see a ball to get one target, because he's going to get discouraged. He's got to go out there. He's got to break the huddle. He's got to run out 25 yards to his alignment. He's got to run down the field as fast as he can, try to get open. He's got to run back to the huddle. It's a lot of effort that he's putting into not getting the ball. And I think when you can reward that guy early in the game and figure out, okay, where is he at? How do I get him the ball? And there's certain guys that are really easy to get the ball to. Certainly the guys that line up closer to the ball, the tight ends and the slot receivers, there's way more route options for them. It's way easier to get them the ball because they can go to basically every part of the field. Whereas
there's way more options to get them involved. They can go to basically every part of the field. So it's not just because the scheme and the relationship that Lamar has had with Mark Andrews. Some of this is alignment. Some of this is about spacing. And so I ask you in the live chat yet again, who does Lamar need to be most mindful of when it comes to getting the football? The easy answer is, well, whoever's going to allow you to win the game or make you most dynamic from an offensive standpoint. But then as you dig deeper, well, wait a second. Who is going to be the most impactful from a pace standpoint, from a differentiation standpoint, based on coverage, based on the overall pace of the game, right? Things of that nature. So you could make an argument for any number one of these guys. But perhaps he does need to be most mindful of getting Rashad Bateman involved. Bateman's gearing up for his 4th NFL season on a 3-year contract extension, something that he was surprised to have received. But if you know that the tight ends and the slot guys, if that's automatic for you, which it has been throughout the Lamar era, then are you going to want to work harder to try and get that vertical threat involved more because of what that might do in response for his teammates down the line of scrimmage? I don't know. It's interesting to think of that, right? If your tight ends and your slot guy are guaranteed and you have rapport and you know where they're going to be and you love it in particular with Mark when it's off schedule and things break down and you get to showcase what street ball is all about, are you going to be most mindful of maybe something that's not as guaranteed and that hasn't worked out as well in the past? Because if you can figure out the vertical passing attack with Rashad Bateman and get in sync with him, timing-wise, right, cadence-wise, all these in-between the lines type of things, which are why so many of us are scratching and clawing to see these guys in action as much as we possibly can in the offseason, because we haven't seen that translate yet consistently enough for the football. Should that be priority number one? Because after that, you know everything's going to fall into place. You already know what you have in Zay. It's that similar street ball, off schedule, right, stuff that you can just kind of improvise with on the fly. Same thing with Mark. And you're starting to see Isaiah Likely. There's a reason why we're referring to Isaiah Likely as a budding star in this league as he prepares for year 3. So I ask you, live chat, who should Lamar Jackson be most mindful of when it comes to his playmakers coming up this year? Blitzbacker weighing in the live chat. Tom Brady basically said, hey, it's not hard to get tight ends and slot wide receivers involved. They're kind of automatic. Cyrus says he just finds it funny how every other receiver gets it with Lamar, but Bateman. Kitchen 82 says all wide receivers are divas, except 15. Who's 15? Is that Aguilar? Who's number 15 right now? Extra Butter says Nelly's just a role player in this lineup. Certainly. Not going to be a high volume guy. His contract reflects that. Last year's did as well, but he was reliable for them. Certainly. And I think he's really filled the role of the veteran wide receiver, if you will, very well. Yeah, Nelly is 15. And look who's back in cell phone form. Let's bring her in. How are you? What's going on over there in Columbus?
What a mess. The power is out, and it's out in the whole neighborhood. I can hear people's generators on. Yeah, so sorry about that. I left you solo there for about 25 minutes.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. We've covered some good ground since we wrapped up the PQ conversation with Marlon. If you'd like to weigh in on that a little bit, go right ahead. Right now, we're just finishing up the conversation about Tom Brady's thoughts on just how to get playmakers involved, and I just thought it was so compelling because, yeah, like it hasn't been hard for Lamar, especially since Zay showed up, to get his slot guy involved, to get his tight ends involved. But what's a little bit trickier, a lot of which is due to alignment, is that vertical threat that's on the outside. And I just kind of posed the question to the live audience that you wrote into our notes, and that is, who should Lamar be most mindful of going forward with all these mouths to feed?
Well, based off of what Tom Brady was saying, which was just fascinating. I love hearing the nuances, and now that he's out of the game and he doesn't have to worry about politics, like, could you imagine him ever admitting at podium on like a Wednesday between games, being like, yeah, I feel pressure to get the ball to Randy Moss.
Right.
Like no quarterback is going to say that when they're in the midst of all of that. But for him to open up and share that, and then to even go even further and explain that, you know what, somebody like Welker, who obviously Zay Flowers is different. Zay Flowers can certainly be a deep threat, and he can run the whole route tree. Whereas Welker, I felt like pretty much stayed in the slot, at least outside looking in. Maybe a Patriots reporter could explain how often he left the slot. But based off of the way he said that, yeah, it seems like Zay will naturally get into things, right? If it's the tight ends, naturally get into things. Like, I don't think he has any problem getting the ball to Mark Andrews. None whatsoever. In fact, some people have gone to the point where they're like, trade Andrews so that he'll spread the ball around more, right? Yeah. So, which is ludicrous. But Andrews it just seems like it'll happen. Aguilar, I don't think he's like at the spot. I don't think he's like a Randy Moss where it's like, oh, you feel the pressure to get it to him. So I think that does, and by Isaiah Likely, I see that more as being a Todd Monken thing, getting them both on the field. But I would still kind of put Isaiah in there. I think there needs to be a concerted effort both on Monken and Lamar's part to get Isaiah going while Mark is, and then also, yes, Rashad Bateman. And it's not whether you like Rashad Bateman's personality or not, and the way he goes about things. If Tom Brady had to think about that, you know, for somebody like Moss, who's got a very different personality than Bateman, like, to me, it's not about personality. It's about getting your receiver involved, as he explained, because they're on the perimeter, and it's not as easy to get the ball to them. And they are running and running and running, and they may only see, 4, 5, 6 targets, if you're having a sweet game, maybe 8. So yeah, I want to see a concerted effort with Isaiah Likely, just making sure he's in with Bateman, with Andrews, and then also Rashad Bateman as the X receiver.
Tom there were so many interesting nuggets in that, and to your point, now that he is in his broadcaster era, right? There's no limit on what he says, and so I just wonder, as we continue to kind of tailor this conversation to relevant to Lamar, who do you think he has? Do you think that Bateman, and the fact that this has been such a major sticking point and a hot topic, not just this offseason, but in past off seasons, he'll never obviously share this, and he does a good job at having a poker face. But do you think he feels the most amount of pressure, not necessarily with getting his 2 tight ends involved, but actually for Rashad Bateman entering year 4?
Do I think Lamar feels that pressure?
Right. I'm wondering,
yes.
Yeah, right?
Not to the point where he's like stressed. Lamar's like a pretty laid back guy. And Lamar wants to get everybody involved. But there's a reason why when he gets up at the podium, remember that one time he was asked about Bateman, he's like, oh yeah, wide receiver 1. Like, he doesn't need to stand up and say, Mark Andrews, tight end 1. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's a given.
Right.
That's a given. By the way, I just got an alert that the power outage may not be restored until 5 p.m. So good luck here in the Ellison household.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, do you know what I mean? But he doesn't need to go up and gas up Mark Andrews.
Right.
There was a time where he kind of needed to with Zay when he was like early rookie year, but you don't hear him coming in and being like, oh yeah, Zay. You know what I mean? So because I remember him saying that about Bateman. Then on top of it, I feel like it happened and I wasn't there. And so but based off of reports that I read with Bateman showing his frustration after the first 2 days of mandatory minicamp, and then the report from Mike Preston that at the end of practice, Lamar went over and they were talking and then joking by the end of it. And then magically the next day, Rashad Bateman's the busiest guy in mandatory minicamp based off of the reports. So to me, it's already happening.
Right.
But based off of the light that Tom Brady's, putting in, I don't necessarily have a problem with it.
Right.
Now if it's too much and he starts ignoring others, or if Bateman doesn't deliver, then no, you don't get that treatment anymore. But it sounded like he delivered in that practice after he kind of let it be known that he was unhappy with the amount of looks he was getting. So as long as it doesn't like become to a point where Lamar's forcing it there, or that Bateman's not delivering after he speaks up, then I have no problem with it. But if one of those two ingredients comes in, then I have a problem with it.
Is there anything else that you wanted to wrap up and put a bow on the first discussion related to PQ and Marlon?
Well, yeah, I finally get what happened, by the way. I was looking on my cell phone. So basically, the Steelers Depot is basically summing up the grass is always greener on the other side. He didn't say that per se, but that was what he said. And so for PQ to quote retweet it with him watering his grass, like a pretty green lawn, by the way, I thought was epic. I thought it was very well done by PQ. Like, his trolling on this one was not one where it like made me angry at him, or that I was like, ooh, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, there's some that I'm just like, okay, that was lame. This one it was like, okay, well done, PQ. Well done. And I think his teammates, as you kind of showed, I know you showed Kyle Hamilton, but there were other guys like Kyle Van Noy that was like, okay, this was good. Plenty of guys that did, So I'm not angry at it. I thought it was hilarious. Here's what was good about it. It was hilarious because it wasn't a shot at anybody. Do you know what I mean? It was hilarious without taking a shot or being a jerk at anybody. So I was fine with it. But my overall feelings still stand. He's the enemy. And I can't wait for Derrick Henry to deliver a shoulder. And hopefully, my fingers are crossed that he will just run him over on the way to a first down or a touchdown.
And PQ has more to prove to us that he actually wants to embrace this role of being the villain, right? Because his mentions in recent weeks say otherwise. Can he actually take the heat that's coming in from every which way? So that's that. A couple other notes that I forgot to mention just before we turn a page is that Marlon, in the beginning of this episode, again, he's got his brand new episode on the Punchline podcast. You can go check it out on YouTube and across platforms. But that he mentioned that day 2 and day 3 of minicamp, those absences were vet days. But then later on, Jack, his co-host, Jack Settleman, said that they should jokingly, of course, call up Eric DaCosta one day and prank call him by asking for a trade request, right? And they're just having fun, of course, right? And they're having fun with it.
I don't know if Humphrey wants to play that game.
Heck no. His answer to me was slightly revealing. He was like, I mean, if I don't get daggone healthy, he might be interested in that. Something like that, paraphrasing somewhat, right?
Yeah, be careful.
Right? But that tells me, I'm like, well, wait a second here. Were these vet days? Or because John Harbaugh is referring to where your health is as nagging things, where are you right now? They didn't discuss that at all in detail, obviously, in this podcast. But I still think it's something that's worth monitoring between now and, of course, the start of training camp and where he's at come July 20th when vets report.
Well, it definitely wasn't vet days. You don't have vet days in that, like,
right.
It wasn't vet days.
At minicamp.
Clearly, it was clearly an injury.
Yeah.
And according to John Harbaugh, nagging injuries.
Yeah. So, okay. That's that. Let's get to a bunch of different quick hits that we've compiled here, starting with PFF's project earlier this week, which is building the perfect wide receiver room with just $10. And you've got a bunch of different dudes here who are listed at different pricing tiers.
Can we come back to it tomorrow? With me being on my phone, the screen is so small, I literally can't see the money. Even that doesn't help.
Okay.
Yeah, let's come back to it tomorrow.
Okay.
If you don't mind, there's a quick hit. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. But there you have it for those of you who want to do it now.
Yeah.
There you have it. You go back on X or Twitter and check out where the pricing level tiers are. Are there any Ravens on this? It doesn't look like there are, but Sarah can't see it, so we will revisit this. What is this
Oh man,
from
this is too bad.
Lamar?
It's not uploaded. So Lamar, as we know, remember the joke that Henry, when they revealed the new helmets, Derrick Henry quote retweeted the Ravens Twitter and said, "Oh, Lamar, it looks like we didn't make the cut to reveal the helmets," as a joke. And Lamar was like, "Oh yeah, wow," just kind of joking around. But and I again would have it on my computer. I could give credit to this person. I can do it tomorrow, but my computer's dead. Somebody put together a Photoshop edit of Lamar in the new Color Rush helmet. And then, but also, I don't know if you watched it, Bobby, but the Ravens put out a video that had, it's their classic, like they can't see what's inside of a box and they have to put their hands in and feel around to what's in there. So they put several items in there, including like a teddy bear, baked beans in a bowl. But then the last item was the new helmet. So they had guys be like, "Oh, duh, this is a football helmet." They're like, "Well, pull it out to look at it." So Lamar was absolutely just lovable. It's like the best word I can give again. When he first saw it, and anyway, I grabbed the audio of it, but I can't play it. So I'll have to do that tomorrow. But it was what I liked about it, that screen grab I had. Remember I said a couple days ago that I needed the picture of Lamar with his diamonds in his teeth with the helmet on? Yeah. That's what that picture was. It had it with he was showing off his diamonds with it on. Gotcha. So, but his initial reaction was pretty fun.
What we'll do here is, you let me know. We'll shift most of these quick hits to tomorrow when you're back up fully and running. And then after we get to a couple of them right now, we can have a little bit of fun with what some are waiting for here in our last segment. Okay. But so the Ravens noted that they're expanding their partnership with Fanatics to create an amplified fan experience this year. Fanatics becomes their comprehensive omni-channel retail partner, continuing to power their online and mobile e-commerce, as well as now operate the full suite of retail touch points at M&T Bank Stadium, including their first ever year-round retail store. You can go find more on that at the Ravens social accounts, Ravens Productions. Jonas Schaefer noted on X that Isaiah Likely, for the second straight offseason, is participating and working out at Tight End University down south. You know, that one is always, I believe Bryson DeChambeau showed up there with his golf tournament trophy, if I'm not mistaken, his U.S. Open trophy. That guy's been everywhere. I saw him in downtown Nashville on a video, just making his rounds post-title, post-championship for him. So good stuff there, because we know that's about as good as it gets for his position group to be at tight end U, Sarah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool to see him down there, and as much as he can continue to pick up, it's nice to see him down there. I guess no Mark. I know Mark's been down there a few times. Wonder if Charlie was down there with him.
Yeah. All right. Does that sound decent for you? Obviously, this is a little bit on the fly here. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. I mean, Sarah is in Columbus, and there's been a major power outage, so this has been a unique one. But do we want to push the other quick hits that require reading?
Well, I want you to just bring up the Sunday ticket stuff. That one I have pretty much memorized, just because I've been following it as a Sunday ticket user. Basically, I'll just say this. So the Sports Business Journal, using quotes from some Associated Press journalists. So the judge in the case, this is how you know it's not going well. The judge in the case, without the jury in the room, says to the plaintiff's lawyers, okay, like basically tells them they're doing a terrible job. He's like, this case is pretty simple. He tells the lawyers, he's like, anybody can understand that if you're a Bears fan in Pittsburgh and all you want to do is watch Bears games, but you're forced to buy all 32 teams packages for $400. He's like, It's a pretty simple case, and anybody can understand the frustration of that Bears fan. And he's like, but you guys have made it way too complex. And this is the word he used. He goes, you keep bringing in old testimony and old depositions, and this has turned into gobbledygook.
Wow.
He tells the lawyers. Then he warns them, again, before the jury comes in. He said, remember, I can always throw this out at any point where, like, I can say, like, there's not even enough here for a jury to make a decision. So basically, that wasn't boding well for the plaintiffs and is a big boost to the NFL being able to continue to carry out what they've been doing and selling Sunday Ticket as a premium package worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars and not allowing fans to just buy it by a per team or a per game basis. So that's the update there.
If you're interested in seeing how you spell gobbledygook, is that how you pronounce it? Gobbledygook?
Gobbledygook, yes.
There it is. GOBBLEDYGOOK.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess I gotta keep saving every year for big bucks, Bobby.
Right.
Things don't look like they're going the consumer's way on this.
Yeah,
one.
that's the way it looks right now.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other quick? So we'll save. All right, we'll save the rest of the quick hits for tomorrow. We'll shift that to the end of tomorrow's show.
Sure.
Okay. Which brings us to the main event.
Bobby,
What questions do you have?
Bobby, how was the date last night? We're not going to reveal any names. For those that don't know, Bobby traveled from Baltimore, is staying up at his aunt's house in New York City because he matched with a girl on, I don't know what dating sites you guys use. I didn't have to date online back in my day. Okay, you matched with a girl in she's not in New York City though, right? She's like just outside.
Lives in Hoboken.
And so Bobby took his whole operation up to the city,
Including this little girl.
including Tilly, Bobby's beautiful dog. And you went out last night, did happy hour and then sushi. You said that you guys were getting along really well. You talked on the phone quite a bit. So how did it go?
Pretty good context leading up to the story there by you. You pay attention to me, don't you? Thank you.
Of course I do. Come on, let's go.
Well, yeah, we always have fun off the air, just me updating Sarah on my life and vice versa. But yeah, I'm an upstate New York boy that grew up 3 hours outside the city. I do not know the subway system. I was a little late, and I felt very bad about it.
Oh, you're usually very punctual. If she needs me to vouch for you on that, I can.
And
do
luckily, I don't think I need you because she was so like understanding.
that. Okay.
But I was a little bit late.
Okay.
Meaning we didn't do anything prior to sushi because I didn't get there until about 5 o'clock.
Oh, when you say a little late, you mean like a lot late.
Like 20, 30 minutes late.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were
Now-
texting her, letting her know.
Oh, we were talking on
You
the
didn't
phone.
leave her high and dry. Okay.
Yeah. We
Hold
were
on, I
talking
gotta
on the
turn my
phone.
Comments. I got to read the comments while we're doing this. Here we go.
She was very understanding of it. We didn't have a set time prior to that 5:30 sushi, so that made me feel a little bit better. Like we were like, hey, let's just meet like, 4:30, 4:45, somewhere, but before 5 o'clock, so we can have a drink before we go to sushi. Well, the drink never happened because I showed up late.
Okay.
I was very apologetic, obviously, right from the jump. We got to our sushi place about 20 minutes early, walked in together. Felt like it was a little, it's funny. We had like 5 or 6 conversations prior, like you referenced on the phone, since I'm in Baltimore and she's in the Jersey area.
Yeah.
And yet there was almost like a kind of the need to sort of break the ice a little bit. Like it was almost a little. She was a little fidgety right out of the gate.
Well, listen, let me tell you why. Okay. I could have told you this. You guys are checking each other out now. Okay. You haven't seen each other and you're trying to put a voice and a personality with like a face and a body. Okay. I remember doing the same thing and it's not even in the dating but we had been doing this online for so long. When I first met you after a year in person, like I had to like orient myself. Not only do you have to do that with each other, but you have to see if you can do it on a chemistry level.
Right.
Okay. So there's the jitterbugs right there. And let me also put this out there. You guys had hit it off so well conversationally and with like your interests, like there's pressure to want to feel like there's chemistry there. Look at that. Aline knows. She said chemistry check. That's what it's all about.
Eileen's checking in with the chemistry
Here we
check.
go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, I think that's well said, because just to be clear with everyone, these were not FaceTime calls. These were 5 or 6 on the phone.
Audio only.
Audio only, just normal calls leading up to it. So, we're basing this off of 4 or 5 Hinge photos that are on this dating app, right?
Yeah.
So there was some of that. And maybe both of us, maybe we weren't envisioning one another right off the bat to look like that, or we're just processing what each other looks like. So I thought it was a very slow start to the date. Immediately when we sit down in the sushi place, I don't go out to eat sushi. I'm lost looking at this menu.
Okay.
So I'm like focused on the menu, and she is as well. But then like we're kind of like also trying to catch up and ask each other how our days have been. And yes, like Tanya is probably hitting on it. Like y'all had some nerves. That maybe there were some early nerves. But then the sushi came out so quick that it wasn't even like we had stuff to talk about. It was like, oh, we're talking about the sushi, because we had to. There was these like little. It was wraps. These small little. Of course, I'm forgetting. Is it tamaki? I'm forgetting the actual like wrap that needs to come out from. They were like small little taco shells, almost taco sushis, and so you need to slide the wrap out of each side, and it was kind of complex and something that you needed to focus on. And so all of a sudden, the conversation goes from like awkward small talk catching up to, okay, let's talk about our sushi. But it came out so quickly. So we were probably only at this place for an hour.
Okay.
And then right after that, she's like, hey, do you want to go for a walk?
Wait. Like, so you guys were talking about your sushi, but okay, let's say you're in 25 minutes. Does it start to get more comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And not to be a spoiler here. I think it was good enough for a second date. She texted me right after.
Okay. Oh, okay. That was a spoiler, Bobby.
Well, I feel like I'm kind of dragging on for people a little bit, but she said last night, just got home, which was 8:35. 8:35, she said she just got home, and we had a 5:30 date. We were not together for all that long.
Oh, okay.
Just got home. Thank you so much for tonight. I really appreciate it. And it was so nice meeting you, with a smiley face.
Oh, okay.
I go, you beat me by a few. I was busy sightseeing, taking selfies on my way to the 4-5 train, which was supposed to be an inside joke, because as we were walking around the city in Tribeca, which I had never done before, I was taking some photos. Now, not of the two of us. I never told her what I think you're laughing about right now. I never mentioned the whole, like, we need to take selfies. I was just taking some photos around the area, and she kept going like, oh, you're making us look like tourists. I was like, I kind of am. I'm from upstate New York. So anyway, then I
You were embarrassing her on your first date.
Straight up. I go, after that, I said, I had a blast tonight. I said, did you have fun? She goes, oh, that's, she laughed at whatever I said. She goes, haha, that's funny. I'm sure she didn't think it was funny at all. And then she goes, and yes, I absolutely did. I want to do it again.
Oh, nice. Wow. She's not afraid to just speak her mind.
So,
she texted you first, and she's the one who brought up doing a second date first.
Let me just, well, okay. So she referenced, I'm trying to kind of summarize where I'm at, because to be honest with you, I'm still processing too. I'm very, I don't know if like hesitant is the right word, or I think over the last couple of years, since my only true, like, real relationship that I've been in, I've been very picky, very selective, You know this. We talk about this all the time. And sometimes I write people off too early for whatever reason. And so I think I'm trying to just kind of process this one out. I'm extending my weekend in New York, as you know. I'm going to
I did
stay
not
here.
know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did not know this.
I'm having too many conversations in the aftermath of this date. I think I told my dad that this morning. You and I did not talk about that because we didn't talk about the date prior. So I'm working remotely here tomorrow for our show. I'm going to extend my time into the weekend.
Okay.
And she said
okay
something.
With that? Your aunt's okay with that? Because sometimes I like people to get out of my house.
Yeah, she's not going to be here.
Oh, she's not even there. Okay.
She's in Bethany Beach. Yep, she's in
Okay.
Bethany Beach. And she was like, she said something last night that made me think, all right, well, maybe this will happen. She has a friend coming in for the weekend, and she's like, hey, would you want, more than once, she said, would you want to come meet up with us and go out?
Oh, okay.
So I guess the second date's going to be in a group setting.
Well, you'll shine there. You've got no problem with that.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I kind of want to see what she's like in a group setting.
Sure.
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 So anyway, look, I'm open to the idea of something that's outside of Baltimore. I've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
And I was glad I did it. It was she's cool, she's fun. You can tell she's a city girl. But yeah, jury's still out.
Well, this is for those, basically everybody. You describe yourself to a T where, like, prior to meeting people, you're like super excited. Then as soon as it's over, you become a realist. And you're like, even if you like them, you're like, okay, now we got to take it slow. Right. So this is very, very typical.
Well, how about this?
How long have we been doing this together?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Yeah, this has been. I've seen this cycle a few times.
You have.
Yes.
You've often seen it on the way in, which did not happen this time around.
Right.
I was highly excited for this the first time around. I went out and bought $300 worth of new clothing.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys know I'm an open book. I went to Canton Crossing and went to J. Crew and Skechers to get brand new swag, for lack of a better term, so that I could show up to New York looking like $1 million or my equivalent,
Yeah. No, I like that. Whatever. You probably needed new clothes anyway. I'll allow it. Okay, here's my question. Did you tell her we've been talking about this on our show?
No.
Oh my God.
No, I did not mention it. Which means if she's streaming right now, just wanted to say hello. I'm not going to say her name, just out of respect to her.
Yes, of course.
We'll say hello to E. First initials E. What's up, E?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, second date's probably not happening. But
yeah,
we'll just kind of. And if she is listening and like you would be totally up for and think this is fun, then can't wait to see you this weekend.
Now let me let you know though, I would be up for it if you were up front with me about it, and I would probably have some. Ooh. I would probably have some. Like, I'm cool with it. It's funny, but there'd be some lines that I would want to make sure you wouldn't cross.
I feel like flipping my phone over right now just to see if she's okay. Yeah, she hasn't. That's good.
Okay, so you told her nothing about the show. Can you break that in the group setting? Maybe it'll be funnier that way.
I might have to. You're making me feel like I have to now. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, if you feel like, here's what we know, okay? We know that she liked the date enough that she texted you first and said, let's do it again, and invited you to meet her friends, okay? We know you liked her enough, the first date enough, that you have extended your stay in New York City, and you, just for her.
Well, actually, let me be clear on that. Before she invited me,
yeah,
you and I just haven't caught up enough. Prior to yesterday's date, I had it already extended because I want to see TJ, my brother.
Oh, okay. All right.
But during the date, right out of the gate. It just came up in conversation that I was extending it.
Yeah.
And then an hour later, she's like multiple times, "Hey, I'll let you know what we're doing this weekend. If you want to
Okay.
come out, like, be great."
And you're for it.
I would like to see her again. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let me ask. I don't want to go on too long here,
Okay.
but although it seems like people are somewhat engaged right now, let me ask the live chat, and of course you, Sarah, about this. She's in commercial real estate. A big part of her professional world is entertainment, right? It's happy hours, it's traveling, it's functions, it's things that are in person, like just engagements, just a ton of different. Her social life is where I'm getting at here. Her
Okay.
social life puts me to sleep.
Which
And
is
you know me.
crazy because you are like an extrovert of all extroverts, for sure.
You know me.
I'm
me.
a homebody, and you're always out and about. Yeah.
Sarah, her life would overwhelm the all-out you-know-what out of you. She is on the go. I know what her next couple months are like because we talked about it. She's got a friend coming in from Nashville this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. The second that friend leaves on Sunday, she's got a brunch followed by dinner that night. Next week, she works a couple days remotely and leaves for 2 weeks with her family in Europe, I think in Italy.
Wow.
She gets back from that and so on and so, like, I can keep going on.
Yeah.
So which is cool, right? Like I was
What's the
telling
problem? It seems like it fits you.
it's kind of cool. Like I like that life.
Okay.
And anybody who thinks that we're opposites actually you're wrong. I love living that life. I love being on the run.
Right.
And that's why I'm here right now. It's the dead of off season.
Right.
And I took the opportunity to use our flexibility to
Yep.
come up here. My question for the live chat is, if you go on a date with a girl and you're potentially gearing up for long distance here, and she presents to you an insane several months. Granted, it is summer, but she brings you out to essentially September in terms of what she's doing, what she has planned, including a Hamptons weekend in August, right? Including like a massive family get together that her parents put on every single year. Are you going to, one, kind of shy away from wanting to get involved, or two, or is that going to entice you? Because I don't know where I'm at right now.
No, listen, I could tell you my general, because it's summertime, I could give you my general vacation schedule out to September also. I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
No, that would be like, she has a hunger for life, which matches me. Let's go.
And I shouldn't say every single weekend between now and September's booked, but like she's given me the milestones, like the big
Yeah.
sort of big events that are coming up.
Yeah.
So
all right.
That's kind of where we're at, and maybe to be
Sebastian,
continued.
hold on. Sebastian says
Yeah.
Bobby doesn't want someone as busy as him. Understandable, but maybe take a chance.
Okay.
Plans can change. Ooh, Mars is right. Plans can change. I change them for people I care about. Great sign, but it's a sign? I thought he was saying like signing, like you're signing E. That was a football analogy for a second.
You got a football mind, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Brandon says he's not going to give my answer. We want your answer, Brandon. Come on, it's a safe space here. Look, I
don't know.
Obviously,
I don't know, Bobby. I don't know if I want Brandon's answer.
Maybe not.
Who
Maybe
knows?
not. But here's the thing. Just to kind of put a bow on it, I know that I am nitpicking the heck out of her right now. And I think that's just kind of like what I've become in the dating game.
That is what you do.
Yeah. And I know, and I realize I'm self-aware enough to realize, even though I haven't done anything about it, I'm self-aware enough to realize that like that's got to change. I should probably like cut back on that a little bit. But it was a fun night. I would never have gone out to sushi if it weren't for her. Yeah. I would never have walked around Tribeca and taken a look at a completely new part of New York that I'd never been to. And, I think it was all in all good enough for a second date. And I think that's just a fair way of describing it.
Okay. All right. Oh, here's a question for you, then we'll move on.
Yeah.
Is all of this what you're bringing up? Is it kind of like you kind of want to see it, like it's like because she planned everything, right? She planned the sushi, she planned the walk. She's inviting you. She texted you first. Has you coming out with her friends? Is there just maybe a feeling that it's like, well, I hope that there's a little back and forth where you can plan some things too, that you can have some.
Yeah. Well, naturally, I have a hard time delegating as it is when it comes to our professional side of things.
Yeah.
But honestly, I love a woman who like wants to take control.
Okay.
Love that. Now, granted, we might be similar in that sense, she and I, in terms of being the planners, being the itinerary people, being the ones who want to kind of like, put everything together. Matter of fact, I think I definitely know that we have that in common.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. Like she lives here. She's the one who has friends here. I have people here, but I have more acquaintances. I have brothers in town. But yeah, to your point, like this is her world. It's not mine.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to revisit this on Monday.
I think so. We'll see what the weekend brings. And
All right.
But yeah, appreciate you guys for listening. Should we shift our last quick hit to tomorrow?
Yeah. Wait,
Okay.
Which one? Is it the Aaron Judge stuff?
Yeah, the Yankees Orioles stuff and my Twitter spat.
Yeah. You taking on Jason La Canfora.
Oh yeah, I like to have a little fun and say, well, actually, it wasn't fun. I don't think there was very much fun.
You were not being funny. No. You were taking a shot for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. We'll see what you guys think about that tomorrow. Jason La Canfora is a local radio personality, and some of his tweets recently when it comes to the Orioles-Yankees series just rubbed me the wrong way. So, and I thought it was like a greater trend from what I've seen of him on the app. But we'll have some fun with that tomorrow. Returning patrons, Erica and Lauren. Erica Wass, Lauren Wunderlich. We appreciate you both. I'm laughing right now because I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give it away now.
What?
Her name's Erica. Our patron.
But it's not that Erica, right? Not our patron Erica, right?
No, but
Okay.
I'm shook right now because
You're bright red.
I'm just laughing right now.
Came back on.
We have life.
As the show ends, I feel like there's light on my face, and now you revealed your date's name. And
you want to know what? This is wild. First of all, great to have you back. It's nice to see your room lit.
Yeah.
Columbus has been restored. It's not 5 o'clock. Thank goodness.
I think they were doing low expectations. I don't mind it, to be honest. Okay.
This is so wild because, and I'm sorry.
Wait, I just want to say, when you revealed her name, Erica, that's when the lights came on. I'm just saying. I think it's a sign, Bobby.
This is so absurd right now, and I part of me, I should not be talking. I'm not going to mention her last name. Anything else, right? Like, I'm not doing that.
We better end this topic before you give us like your social security number and like your license plate and her address.
We need to end it stat, but I will say this. The reason why I started laughing is not because I'm head over heels. Like, this could work out, right? And I was blushing. But it was because part of last night, literally, what did she mention? She mentioned how she loves that she spells her name with a K. And Erica does the same exact thing. And I'm saying, and I kind of forgot. I put them in yesterday, so I didn't remember that it was Erica and Lauren's day. And by the way, this is worth like 5 shout outs, hopefully, Erica and Lauren. But like, I just couldn't stop laughing when I said her name because we literally talked about that last night. She's like, I love it. It's unique. It's K over C. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then as I anyway, maybe I'm more bubbly than I think coming off the stage.
I'm telling you. I think you're trying to be my power company, keeping expectations low is what you're doing.
Maybe.
All right.
Regardless, I got to get off this show now before I reveal her social security number. I mean, this is nuts. Erica, Lauren, Thank you both for believing in what we're building. If you guys are interested in doing the same, visit patreon.com/Ravens Vault Podcast. Thanks to Primary Residential Mortgage for sponsoring this episode. Thanks to Sarah's Power for coming back on for the end of the show. And it just seems like, yeah, there's a light bulb right now, isn't there? So anyway. All right, partner. Well, we got a lot to get to tomorrow. We're going to shift some of the content that we had planned for today to tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, we appreciate you for dropping by the channel. If you haven't already done so, like the video, subscribe to the channel for daily Ravens content, and check us out in audio-only spaces like Spotify and Apple if you haven't already done so. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Thursday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream.